Yo, 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 what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Regal 30 podcast. I am the host, Nappy. What's going on with everybody today? Got me a nice little tank of water here. I add a little bit of flavor into mine. I actually don't be mining water, just like plain water, just how it is. But every blue moon, I get a mood for something sweet, but I don't want anything with like sugar in it. So I get like a little bit of water flavoring sometimes, or I get like the carbonated water if I want something that helps me feel a little fuller without necessarily having to eat anything. Like if I get a late night craving, give me like a little. I got a cucumber and pear sparkling water with no sugar. I'll get one of those, and that'll kind of like fill me up and hold me over until the morning, and I don't have to worry about eating anything late at night. I've been getting on a little water kick lately. It's definitely been helping me clearing up the skin. I never really had much issues with my skin, but uh, it's definitely been helping out. It's just making things a little bit more clear and nice and clean. Fragrance. Today we are rocking. This is Dubai Indigo. This is an inspiration of a bond number 9 scent from a company called Relevant Essentials. Relevant Essentials is just phenomenal. They have a lot of all natural skin, hair, and like just hygiene products. Mm. Soap, body creams, body butters. They have like bath soaking products and things like that. Bar soaps. I think she even got like loofahs and things like that. She sent me quite a few products, a hydrating body oil. And so I ordered some of these fragrance oils, and she sent some other products for review as well. So we'll be tackling some of those in this coming week. Today I'm wearing that Dubai Indigo, super sweet, airy, floral, like a juicy kind of a floral scent, and it's just super pleasant. And it's really addictive. And just coming back to it constantly, putting something on and smelling it. It's always good. It's always nice to smell nice, and especially if somebody notices it, compliments you on it, asks you what it is, and you can let them know what it is, and then they can get some, and you kind of put them on game as well. It's always nice. Today I wanted to talk about kind of get into my conspiracy theory bag a little bit. Um, Agenda 2030. Now, as you can see, if you're watching this video, you can see this picture here. And this is their sustainable development goals. Right now, there's 17 goals that they have listed. They may have more and different targets and different ideas and methods that they may want to execute to obtain this, and a few more things they may want to add to this. But for right now, this is what they have. Number one, no poverty. Two, zero hunger. Three, good health and well being. Four, quality education. Five, gender equality. Six, clean water and sanitation. Seven, affordable and clean energy. Eight, decent work and economic growth. Nine, industry innovation and infrastructure. 10, reduced inequalities. 11, sustainable cities and communities. 12, responsible consumption and production. 13, climate action. 14, life below water. 15, life on land. 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. And 17, partnerships for the goals. Now, looking at this on paper, and I've covered this before, but this is something that I want to kind of revisit every here and there, just so people can kind of see what this can potentially be and become. Looking at that list, everything just sounds great. Everything sounds beautiful, very nice goals, and a lot of these, if they were actually obtained, would bring a much better quality level of life to a lot of people who've never experienced quality levels of life. Um, I want to backtrack and just say that we as a people, we be missing the big picture. There are things that we argue, fuss, and fight and disagree about that has never, ever mattered. I've seen people, no matter what the topic is, they'll refer back to something as basic, primitive, and minute as Democratic and Republican. And it's the most basic form of division in this. Is so basic, so primitive, so harebrained, the way that particular form of division has worked for this long. Just red Republican, blue Democrat. Even just the color scheme is so basic and kiddie level, and it's insulting that none of us have understood that this is just a tactic used for the masses of people. There are people who are in positions that aren't similar to any positions that we're ever in. And they are contemplating what the masses of people will do if we do this. What will the people do, and how will they respond if we do that? If we countered with this, what would their response be? How would they act towards that? And what will our response be for their response? You got people who, and those are very basic and simple, surface level questions and scenarios, causes and effects. Those are basic ones. Those are things they think about, and those are things that we fail to think about. Those simple questions. If I do this, what do you think they will do? Well, they'll probably respond in this way and that way. Correct. So if they respond that way, what should our response be? Well, I don't know. Maybe we should do this. We should try that. Nice. Now, this is our goal. So what do we need to do decades ahead of time to slowly lead and guide the masses of people toward this goal? So that way, when we plan to achieve this goal, they're not in the way of it. How can we groom and mold them, shape them, and sort of groom them to the mindset we need to have them at, so that when we achieve this goal, they're not in the way. As a matter of fact, they're helping us. These are things that we as civilians, as regular people who are outside of these four walls that these particular people may be in, these are questions that we never ask. These are scenarios that we never really play in our head. I look at, let's go back to the picture. If you're watching the video, we're going to go back to the picture. If you're just listening, I'll go ahead and say it out loud. Let's check out the goal number 16. Goal number 16 in the Sustainable Development Goals list is peace, justice, and strong institutions. Now, in these, all of these, out of these goals, they're looking to guarantee these. These are some things that they're looking to solidify. They're not looking to work on these and try to get these better. They're looking for some straight up, this is what it's going to be. Peace, justice, and strong institutions. Basically, a fancy word for zero crime rate. And a very reliable, consistent, and dependable justice system. Which, let's just be honest, we have not had. It may be reliable for a certain group of people, and it may work in their favor a bit more than for a separate set of people. But so far as a reliable system of justice for all, we haven't had that. Peace and justice for all, we haven't had that. One country may have it, and another country may completely lack it in every single way. They're looking to do this and establish this for the world, not for one city, state, providence, world. As glorious as that sounds, and there will be, I believe there will be a point in time where all of these things are going to work together and it is going to look good. It is going to be running on all cylinders and it's going to look good. It's going to smell good. It's going to produce some good results. I believe this thing is going to run on all cylinders for a certain amount of time. Let's backtrack again. Back to the peace, justice, and strong institutions. One of the things that I noticed over the last, I'd say, 10 years, because all my life I wasn't actively following law enforcement and the way they handled things. We always heard things on the news and things like that, but my whole life I honestly just wasn't following it. So I'd say maybe the last 8 to 10 years, I've, you know, developed a little bit more awareness and develop a more of acute level of awareness for what's going on, and just being a little more perceptive about why it's going on. I've been noticing that the way the police been handling the law and the justice system, not only has it been off and it's been wrong and they've been failing at it, but it seemed like it's been blatant. There's nothing subtle about these cases. There's nothing, oh well, that's a small detail that was missed, and that's why this case went awry or things like that. It's always something blatant, just completely and utterly mishandled, misused, and just malpractice. The misuse of law, brutality, and it's just like, it's been blatant. I was asking my brother, what reason would law enforcement do this? This is a group of individuals that communities, for the most part, would have to trust. Even when you don't really want to, there's a certain level of, I know they'll do this if XYZ happens. If this happens, we know that they're going to probably do this. Not necessarily a trust like, I trust you and I'm leaning on you for protection, but I'm usually certain that if this XYZ happens, you will respond in this manner. That's the certain level of routine and trust that most communities have developed for law enforcement. And there are some communities that have zero trust, but even with that, you still know that they'll respond a certain way. Even if it's positively, negatively, you know that chances are this is how they will respond. There's been a complete and blatant misuse of law enforcement. And with recent events, that happened last year before last, you start seeing the people rise up more and more and more. You had that Black Matter movement that hit, and it hit worldwide. That was my first time seeing that. We always hear about some protests going on here and it kind of falls flat, but that was a point in time just recently where the entire world was in on this, and it was weird, it was refreshing. It was kind of like this had this hopefulness to it, but it was weird The mostly though, it was just weird. One of the things that crossed my mind was if they allow the law to be misused and mishandled and just handled incorrectly and just the ball constantly being dropped, you open a door for a more permanent solution to be suggested, a more radical solution and effective solution to be administered. You open a door for someone to come in and say, you know what? We're done having separate laws in this area, separate set of laws for this area. We're done having judicial systems and law enforcement operate one way here, but a separate in a different way here. We're done with that. From now on, everybody needs to operate under the same umbrella of law. There is no variations in laws and statutes from place to place, state to state, country to country, city to city. It is going to be the same blanket of law, and everybody has to abide by it. There's no variations, there's no deviations. It is what it is. It's one set of laws. If you disobey this law, you will be punished. There's no loopholes, there's no fancy tricks that you can do in order to get off. If you are caught doing this, you will be punished. There's no me having a good amount of money and paying an attorney and getting off. And having a system of law like that in place will create fear. It will create hesitation to do some of the things that we once were doing. When somebody begins to crack down with an iron fist, it will create. Hold on, let me think about this first. It will create that. Could you imagine if you could scare or intimidate people from committing certain crimes, from engaging in certain activity? Drug dealers who, the amount of punishment for them would be so swift and just relentless that a lot of them would just be like, you know what, it's not even worth it. I know in some countries, if you are caught with, I want to say weed or alcohol, like that's like punishable. I want to say either by death or just a lot of years in prison. And it's not even like you have a lot, from what I remember someone telling me, it's not even like you can have a lot of it and that's what caused the amount of punishment. Just a little amount of it, small amount of it, and the punishment is swift and it is harsh and it is unbiased. It goes to anybody who does it. And there's no hesitation. There's no trial and none of that. It's just like, okay, yep, 10 plus years, death penalty or whatever the punishment is. And that will cause the mass of people to, no, I'm good. I look at the misuse and mishandling of the law here, and I can't help but wondering, will something like that be administered here? And then I read a sustainable development goal that reads peace, justice, and strong institutions. And that's what makes me think of that. Being able to guarantee peace or try to solidify peace in this country alone. That's saying something. You get areas in my state, in Illinois, that are where peace is just slim pickings, and it is extremely hard to find it. You get a group of people together and ask them, if I can guarantee you this level of security and peace in exchange for XYZ, most people they'll exchange it for XYZ. That's just the truth. There was a guy over in St. Louis. He was on the radio, and he said that every day he comes home from work, he's worrying and he's in fear of, will I be able to, you know, make it home from work. Every day he's on his way home, and when he gets home, looking over his shoulder, worried if his kids are safe, did they make it home safe? And he was saying that they were talking about, and I don't know if they still doing this over in St. Louis, but they were talking about developing like surveillance, like sky surveillance, and planting it in various areas of St. Louis, and it will be a good viewpoint, a good vantage point to catch just about anything that happens if a person's irresponsible enough to do it outside in the open. And most of the time in St. Louis, you do get a lot of things that happen just right out in the open. That they're able to see what happened and they're able to backtrack at least 3 hours before that event took place to see where they came from, to see possibly what caused it, who they were associated with, and 3 hours after the event happens to see where did they go, uh, where are they hiding, and like I said, who else are they involved with or associated with? Where do they normally congregate? Things like that. That is that can stop a lot on its own. You'll still get guys that do what they want, but having a surveillance system that is that involved and somewhat invasive, you know, that's saying a lot. And but you have to get to the point where you're just tired of being tired, and you'll say, yes, yes, monitor our city as long as my kids are safe. You get a lot of parents and a lot of family members that they will agree to it because they want their family to be safe, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's just the things that we have to give up, the liberties that we would give up. It's a lot. Speaking of giving up liberties and things like that, with everything that was going on last year and this year with the pandemic and everything, it's been crazy. I honestly believe that that particular thing was a test to see how quickly and easily we as a people, so far as the mass of people, how quick and easily we could adjust to adverse situations and conditions and brand new way and walk of living. Brand new set of rules, decrees, and structures. How would you guys function if we changed up your entire structure at a moment's notice? How would you guys adjust to that? How would you function in that setting? Would you revolt, or would you just complain but slowly do exactly what we're telling you to do? I believe that that was somewhat of a test for that. And for the most part, we adjusted. We did what was required because there were certain things that we needed. We needed to go shopping. We needed to buy groceries. We needed to buy clothes. We needed to travel for whatever the reason, whether it was vacation, business, whatever the case. And there were certain things that they required of us before we were able to do any of those things. One of the main and, you know, most popular things that we had to do was we had to cover our face by wearing a face mask, when entering public places, bars, restaurants, grocery stores, shopping malls, if we were traveling. Um, I think now you have to be vaccinated and receive a shot before you can go and be airborne and, traveling abroad and things like that. It's, I believe it was a test to see how would we receive that type of structure. Will we revolt against it? Will we buy into it quickly? Will we disagree with it? Will we complain about it? and they're kind of gauging everybody. Everybody's on social media and they're complaining, they're talking about it, and so it's easy to gauge it and see, okay, this group really doesn't like it, but I mean, to be perfectly honest, what can they do? But do what we ask eventually, because eventually they're going to need something. They're going to need to go to the grocery store for something. They're going to need to go here for something, and eventually they just have to comply. I believe a lot of these companies knew that. I believe a lot of these higher ups and these people in these positions knew that. Like I said in the beginning, asking themselves questions like, if we have this in mind as a goal, how can we get the people and capture their mindsets and shape and mold their mindset to adhere to their goal with little resistance as possible? That's what I believe is some questions that a lot of these guys that we don't see in the public eye, that really have a heavy hand in the affairs of the world, those are some questions I believe they ask themselves. Meanwhile, us the people and masses, we focus on what's not important. We was complaining about people still wearing face masks in public. I don't want to wear no mask. I just stupid. I ain't trying to put this on. I don't want to wear this. And when we see somebody else wearing it, we'll get angry with them. And then we'll put, make it political, and we'll start saying the those two basic group names with the colors, Republican and Democrat. We'll refer back to that, which is so basic, it's so primitive, and we be missing the big point, the big picture. Hmm. Peace, justice, and strong institutions. Being able to guarantee somebody feeling secure, guarantee their security, guarantee or nearly guaranteeing a low to no crime rate. Crime rate. As good as that sounds, especially in certain areas in my state, there's a lot of people who would oblige. Yeah, a lot of moms out here that lost their son to senseless gunfire and violence in our areas, and they would love to be able to guarantee that their children will be okay growing up in whatever neighborhood. And seeing all these different guarantees and promises and ambitious goals for sustainable development, that's what makes me ask that question. Seeing the word sustainable development, pop up, that's, that makes my mind wonder too. That gets my gears rolling as well. So far as what are they meaning and talking about with that. So we might cover a little bit more of that in the next video. Instead of me trying to cover everything in this one video, we might go topic by topic and just do multiple videos and just kind of break things up. But yeah, man, just so much been going on with the everybody. At one point last year was really talking about. I think it was last year or early this year. Really talking about defunding the police departments, or lowering the budget for a lot of their training programs and training protocol. Um, Police departments looking for new officers, but all people not even slightly caring to become an officer with just the social climate that we had gotten to. And they were literally like, listen, we'll pay you just for joining in, signing up, really trying to reach out and obtain new officers. And it was just a tough time for that. It was just a tough time for that, and created such a terrible climate here socially. And like I said, stuff like this make me wonder, what direction are we heading in? Where are we getting ready to head into with everything that's going on? Issues in every direction, in every corner of this country, from every walk of life. And what are we getting into? Listen, guys, stay, as you know, looking around, being aware of what's going on, asking questions, being a little more informed. You ain't got to be perfect. I'm not perfect, but I'm progressing towards being a bit more informed about what's happening, and do my best to make myself aware of my surroundings, to where I'm not clueless as to what's going on. That is it for this video, you guys. So like I said, this one is mainly just talking about law enforcement and police officers and just the law in general, and just the misuse of it, and a possible um, solution to be presented in the future. And are we ready for that solution? Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will catch you guys soon. Peace.